Let's take a moment to thank today's sponsor, designcrowd.com. Have you ever considered starting your own business or launching a startup? If the answer is yes, then you're probably going to want a great logo design as well as a website made. This is where designcrowd.com can help. Here's how it works. Step 1, simply visit designcrowd.com/hack. You will get your special offer for being a listener. Then you just post a brief description describing the design that you need. For example, a brand new logo. Step 2, DesignCrowd will then open your project to their 500,000 designers to respond to your offer. Step 3, within hours, you will receive your first design, and over the course of the next 3 to 10 days, a typical project will receive 60 to 100 different designs from designers around the world. Step 4, you then simply pick the best design that you like, and the designers will get paid. As a special bonus, if you do not find a design you want, absolutely no problem. The risk is not on you. DesignCrowd has a money-back guarantee. Crowdsourcing design on DesignCrowd helps you access the collective creativity of hundreds of thousands of designers that will save you money, time, and resources and help you find the best designs possible. Check out designcrowd.com/hack. That's DESIGNCROWD.com/hack. And you'll get up to $100 off your very next project.
Welcome to Hack the Entrepreneur, the show which reveals the fears, habits, and inner battles behind big-name entrepreneurs and those on their way to joining them. Now here is your host, John Nastor.
Welcome back to Hack the Entrepreneur. I am John Nastor, but you can call me Johnny. Startups and sales don't go together as often as they should. By this, I mean that there is a real trend in the startup world where the success of a business is not based on customers, sales, or even revenue. This is something that has always baffled me. I come from a place where if you don't have customers and revenue, you don't have a business. Today's guest founded and runs not just 2 startups, but 2 startups based on sales and helping you close and earn more revenue. His first startup is Elastic Sales. It's a unique SaaS product. It is sales as a service, and it provides startups and businesses with a virtual sales team and the infrastructure to make sales. His second company is called Close.io. It is software that helps salespeople close more deals. Don't forget, as soon as the interview is done, I will pull the hack that I find in the interview and I will replay it for you and explain my reason for doing so. Let's hack Steli Efti. I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Square. It's hard getting paid for your work. Tracking people down and waiting for their checks is a time-consuming pain. Square lets you send an invoice just like you're sending an email. Send invoices from your office or right from the job site with your smartphone or tablet. Just send an invoice like you're sending an email. Your customers click and go to a secure payment link and enter their credit card or debit card. You see deposits in your bank account in 1 to 2 business days. Send invoices free and only pay for the processing. It's just 2.9% plus 30 cents for each invoice that gets paid online. There are no subscription fees, no fees to your customers, nothing. Square keeps track of all your invoices so you can see what's been paid and what's outstanding, and you can send a reminder invoice when you have to. You can also schedule recurring invoices for customers who do a lot of business with you. And for a little bit more, you can even keep customers' cards on file so you can charge them automatically. Go to square.com/hack to start sending invoices for free and get free processing on up to $500 in sales. That's square.com/hack. Welcome to the show, Steli.
Hey, John, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. This is my honor. So, Steli, let's not waste anybody's time. Let's jump right into it. Can you tell me, Steli, what you specifically do that you think other people don't, that has been a big contributor to your successes thus far?
It's a great question. A hard one as well, because I'm always second guessing if there's really truly things that are completely unique, right, to the way I do things or the way I approach things. I think if there's one thing that has differentiated myself and my results from the people that I grew up with and the people that I've compared myself with mostly, it has probably been my willingness to look stupid in the name of progress. Just like doing things that I'm not prepared to do yet, doing things that are a little above my comfort level, and then being very aware as I'm doing them that I'm looking completely like an idiot or that I'm not doing a great job at it, and not slowing down. And not that I've never slowed down, but whenever I slowed down because things weren't working or I was getting rejected, those were the most painful periods of my entrepreneurial life. But all in all, I think I've maintained a pretty good pace. And whenever I slow down or whenever I get too comfortable, I start getting uncomfortable with that and thinking, well, I'm not pushing myself enough. I'm not doing things that are outside my comfort zone enough. And that has been definitely a driving factor. And I do this more than I see others do.
Oh, I love the answer. So one of our biggest fears as entrepreneurs, but also just as human beings that I see is our fear of being wrong and not knowing the answer to something, which you just touched on. So could you walk us through how to be wrong?
Well, how to be wrong is actually pretty easy. This is the first step of being wrong is doing something you haven't mastered yet in an area you're not comfortable with, and not hesitating before actually, stepping into action. So, I mean, almost anything you do that's new, more likely than not, you're going to have some degree of wrongness, or you're going to be completely, besides the point or besides where you want to be. I think being wrong means just trying new things consistently and trying things that you haven't mastered yet. And I think that as human beings, we grow up and kind of we are, our whole lives are designed around this idea that you grow up, and as a child, you have to be constantly wrong, right? As a child, you have to try all these new things, kind of try to figure out who you are, what you like, and what your identity is, and what your place is in the world. And as you're trying all these different things, you have to be wrong a lot. You have to try new things a lot. And you're fine with it. Increasingly, you get more and more uncomfortable because I think we get educated out of that. If you ever see a baby try to learn to walk, and I have two boys, so I'm making a lot of family references here, but if you ever see kind of the months that a baby tries to walk and attempts, a baby doesn't fall down like 5 or 6 times and then goes, all right, that's it. I'm done with walking. This is just not for me. I look stupid. Everybody laughing at me. This is it. I'm just going to be crawling, right? That's just my thing. I'm not we don't, as human beings, we don't have anything that's natural that is afraid of looking stupid or try to avoid failure, but I think we get educated into it. And then once we get out of kind of the childhood, the teenage years or something, we try to find something we're good at as quickly as possible, create a comfort zone, and then ride that comfort zone forever, right? Just never step out of it, because now you kind of found your rhythm, your friends, the things that you do at work. Why go out and try something new that might make you look stupid? And then we come up with all these excuses of I'm too old, this is really not for me. But we all have these internal intimate desires that we're I always wanted to learn how to skateboard, but I missed the boat while I was a child. And now I'm 32 years old and I can't buy a skateboard. Now I'm going to look like an idiot, right? And that's kind of just from personal life, but I think in business it's the same way. We get good at something and then we build on that, and that's fine. But the question is, are we really pushing ourselves enough? Are we trying to get outside our comfort zone? But when it comes to how can you be wrong? Just try new things, and chances are you're going to be wrong a lot.
I love the childhood analogy, and because I've really been dealing with that in my own life. I mean, I have a daughter who's 9. I can see her growing up and just trying stuff all the time, and it's not scary. And it's amazing. That, and I find just laughing all the time at everything is amazing that children do. And then get around people my age, and it's why don't we just not laugh as much as this? Why do we forget all this such just really, really, I think, important stuff as a kid and as we grow up? But I think you're right. It gets educated sort of out of us, and we probably do have to go back. And I'm 37 now, and you should see me on a skateboard. I look hilarious, but I don't really care.
You know what? And John, just one comment on that laughter thing, because I've been thinking about this as well. I've been thinking, why can my 2-year-old have fun with something and then continue to have the same quantity of fun with the same activity for seemingly forever, right? And I have fun at the beginning with him, and then at some point I go, all right, this is enough, right? The expiration date of fun has run out, and this is not intellectually intelligent anymore. Let's do something else. And I wonder, that's such a waste of good emotions, good feelings, and fun, right? When you only can have joy at something for a very short period of time, and then you have to find something new. I think these things are also like educated, like these are trained things. I think there's a lot to do with, again, how we want to be perceived by environment. We want to be sophisticated. We want to be cool. And if we have too much fun with something, somebody was saying that that's stupid or we're stupid or something else. And kind of we learned to enjoy ourselves, but just not too long because it looks weird for other people. I really think that those things are all kind of like bad things that we've learned, unfortunately. But I don't want to go too much off on the family and growing up as children thing.
Well, no. And I'm going to keep you on it for a second because I like this. So growing up, can you tell me about how or when you decided or maybe even just realized that you were an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I grew up immigrant family, factory workers. I'm originally from Greece, but grew up in Germany. And till I was 16, I didn't read a book in my life. I was really just wasting my time. I hated school, hated it. And I really didn't have any direction and no clear vision of what I wanted out of life. But I knew instinctively, or I thought so, that I wanted greatness, but I just didn't. I was clueless, right? I didn't know really what that meant or how to get there. And I had I have two older brothers. I had a big argument one day with one of them about success in life. And his side of the argument was basically, to be successful in life, you have to either be academically successful and become a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, or you have to be criminally successful and make a ton of money doing things that you're not supposed to do. He's harmless. He's a great guy. He was 18, 19. He was watching too many, Scarface movies and was like in love with that gangster idea. But that was his thing. Like, that's the only two ways to make money in life. And I was arguing against that because both of these options seemed super unattractive to me until he eventually said, all right, smartass. He asked me this question. He's like, all right, smartass, what's your plan for success? How are you going to be successful, wealthy? What are you going to do? And I opened my mouth, but there was no sound, words, or anything else coming out of it because I didn't know, right? And that was a really defining moment in my life where I realized how clueless I was. And that really set me off on a path of like discomfort because I was not comfortable anymore with not knowing what I wanted to do or how I would accomplish my dreams. And that led to a couple of things, but eventually that actually led me to buying the first book that I ever bought, reading a book about stocks, because I had watched Wall Street and it seemed like these guys were making money. I had no clue what a stock is. I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship or business. And I read a book and it was like a book for $4.99. So it was really simple concepts, big images, and I got it and I understood it. And that really pushed me to buy the second book and the third book. And then I discovered this thing called business and then entrepreneurship. And the most appealing thing about entrepreneurship was that you didn't need any certificates or approval from anybody else. Nobody needed to give me permission to be an entrepreneur. And I knew immediately, all right, that's it. If I can do whatever I want, I can create things and I can be immensely successful. And I don't have to go through any system to get approved to do this. That's going to be my path in life. And that's really when I realized that would be who I would end up becoming as a person.
Nice. I love it. Okay, let's move on to habits if we can.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through the first 30 minutes of your workday?
First 30 minutes of my workday. So the first 30 minutes of my workday, actually, I'm not at work, but I'm at a coffee shop near work, near our offices. So I usually go to a coffee shop, I grab my breakfast and a cappuccino. And what I do is I basically what I call like household tasks or cleanup tasks, right? I go quickly through my inbox for like 10 or 20 minutes and check if there's anything important, anything urgent, anything that needs my attention immediately. I go through, some of our analytics, our numbers, check with the main task in my calendar. What do I have to do today? What do I want to accomplish? And kind of prepare myself to show up at work with the highest level of clarity possible. So when I step into the office, I can be really, really productive. And I have to do as little of these like tiny tasks that take away a lot of attention as possible. So that's kind of my morning day ritual. Spend a little bit of time at the coffee shop, do my breakfast, check my email, check a bunch of things. And usually the last thing that I do before I show up at work, I actually have 5 daily questions that are very simple things and they change from time to time, but it can be things like, what am I grateful for today? What is the most exciting thing about my day today? What are my goals today? Things like that. And anybody can have different ones, but I have 5 questions that I have in Evernote. I pop it up, I put in the date for today, and I answer these questions every day is the last thing I do before I leave the coffee shop and I show up at the office.
So 5 daily questions. Do those questions change for you?
Yeah, they do. Not daily. So I might have the same 5 questions for 6 months. But then there might be an area in my life that I want to improve or I'm unhappy with, or something I heard somebody else say, or something I read that inspires me to change one of them. I try to keep it short and sweet so I don't add more and more questions. And then eventually after a year, I have like 300 questions. So I might change just one question, and I might change 3. It really depends. But I've been doing this now. I read it somewhere, and it was like a 30-day challenge. Try to do this every morning before you do. I mean, there's all these productivity hacks. This is a particular one that I started 437 days ago, and I still do it.
Really?
Yeah, I still do it. It's one of the few ones that I started, and I'm still continuing to enjoy and get. It helps me gain clarity. It helps me kind of gain some perspective, because I ask things like, what am I grateful about? What's great about my life? I ask these questions before I start my busy and stressful day.
Nice. I'm going to have to try that. I like that. I like that a lot. So 437 days. This is now a habit. Is there a habit right now that you are trying to develop, but you're struggling to adopt into your life?
Yes. And it sucks because a week or 7, 10 days ago, I would have said, no, because the new habit that I'm trying to adopt, I'm totally rocking it. But the last 7 to 10 days, I've not. So I'm struggling with this. So here again, something that I read somewhere. One of our guys here in the team, I think, liked a Quora answer. And he doesn't like too many. When he does, they're pretty good. So I actually checked it, clicked the link when I saw it in my Facebook stream. I went to Quora, and it was I don't even remember, it was something about like lifestyle hacks that have provided value to people. And this guy's answer was the 20-minute hack, where basically what he does is when he arrives at home after his workday, he made it a habit to take the first 20 minutes and be completely disconnected. So no laptop, no cell phone, no television, no nothing. And take these 20 minutes to do something that really creates value in his life. So it's either reading if he wants to read more books. It could be learning a language if that's something he wants to do. It could be gardening, whatever it is, something that is for him, that is kind of a disconnected task. It's not like watching television, playing video games, or spending time on Twitter or something like that, or checking your inbox. And he found that when he starts with 20 minutes, I mean, a lot of good things happen. A lot of times it gains momentum, so he doesn't even want to go and check his email anymore. And instead of just reading for 20 minutes, he might read for an hour. And just the entire quality of his time at home after work has increased dramatically. And it brings up all kinds of reasons why. And I was very inspired by that, because having 2 little children, a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, coming home, it's pretty stressful. I try to be there before dinner, so we do dinner. I have to, change them, change diapers, play a little bit with them, put them to bed. And by the time that the big one and the little one are in bed and actually sleeping, it's like 9 p.m., right? So by that time, I'm so exhausted. My wife's so exhausted. We don't want to do anything, right? And usually we might do something that's unproductive. We might watch a movie, or I for no reason whatsoever, start checking my emails, and it has been very unproductive time for the last few months. So we started that 20-minute hack. I started it, and my wife joined me. And for, I would say, about a week, maybe 1 to 2 weeks, we did it actually pretty successfully, and it had a dramatic impact on the quality of my life and our lives. It was really awesome. And then, what happened? It's funny with small, newborns, like a 4-month-old, sleep rhythm is not always great. And when they go through growth spurts, they sleep particularly bad. So he started going through a bad phase now where he doesn't sleep. And that means we don't sleep. Because we don't sleep, we start the day on the wrong foot. I drink too much coffee during the day. And then at the end of the day, we don't have we haven't given ourselves the mental energy to keep with the 20-minute rule. So we eat at 9 p.m. watching a movie or something, and we're back to a bad habit. I go to bed way too late, and it's kind of a vicious circle. And I'm determined to stop that today. I make the promise on this interview.
Nice.
tonight I'm back on track with 20 minutes being disconnected before doing anything else. Let's see. But this is a new habit I'm trying to form, and one that I've been struggling with over the last few days.
Nice. Well, I mean, Steli, with a 4-month-old and a 2-year-old, I believe you said.
Yep.
I think we'll let you off the hook without taking on a new habit. Because
don't. I want to set high standards for myself.
I know, but I totally understand. Structure is so hard with newborns. It really is. I mean, I forget about it because my daughter's now 9 and only have the one daughter. But as soon as it's brought up to me again, I just like completely shift back like 8 years. And it's like, oh my God, waking up all night and just, it's hard. So you're doing great. So let's move to projects or business ventures, whatever you want to call them. I refer to them as projects, or projects that you're going to take on even within your existing business, new big features or something. But what do you look for in, say, a new project or a business venture?
It's a great question. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. So I think that the biggest balancing act that I'm striving to have a certain level of balance, and it's really hard as an entrepreneur. So when you start off, you're pretty ignorant when you start off as an entrepreneur, you're pretty ignorant on what it will take to actually build a business or create or turn the creative idea that you have into reality. And that's healthy. That actually lets you move forward with a lot more energy and excitement than you would have if you only had hindsight and knew how painful it's going to be to actually accomplish this, or how hard. So you start off like all ignorance and all like bravado and energy, but maybe not that much experience and expertise. And as you become a more senior entrepreneur, as you've done more things and grown more things, you know, typically that scale tips over to the other side where you're a little bit cynical and you become all expertise and experience, but maybe not as much willing to try crazy things or things that have maybe small chances of success, right? So to me, it's that balancing act that's tough. It's actually like everything we do with Closer is very, very focused. We're a small team and we have a lot of customers. We're doing really well. We have a lot of growth. We're a profitable business. So when you have a small dedicated team that does numbers and accomplishes a certain level of success that you normally, our competitors have hundreds of employees, then you have to be pretty focused. You have to be good at saying no to a lot of things. So I say no to a lot of projects, a lot of ideas. I say no more than I say yes to things because I know that I can't do everything amazingly. So I try to pick and choose. But when we choose something, we want to go all in. Like when we do something, we'll do it. We'll go all in. And all in doesn't mean we'll do it perfect. It means that we're going to start executing the hell out of it, and we're going to start producing as quickly as possible. So a good example of that is when we decided to actually make content marketing a big part of our business and actually make our blog a big part of the way people discover us. We started churning out content quite frequently, and we invest heavy amounts of time in the blog. And what that happened is that after growing now an audience and people telling us that they consistently love the content, we just recently decided, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if we actually had a book? A book would be also a great way to actually teach people how to do sales, how to hustle, and these kind of people that want to learn these things are also really good customers for Close.io. And we actually just, after writing for 6 to 9 months, 2 or 3 blog posts a week, we actually just took, a bunch of those posts, we curated them, we edited them into a book, and we've been blown away. And this is like a smart way of actually taking on a new project. It's a book. It's a completely new project, but it was actually based on the blog. So we had already the content there to leverage. But the book, and we decided to actually charge for the book and not just give it away for free as a lead gen tactic where people have to put in their email or something. And it's been selling pretty crazily well. And we've made a lot more money with the book than we anticipated. And that's kind of a good example for a project that I'm all in favor of, which is it's a new project. It's a new form factor. It's a new way of us communicating, marketing, building relationship with the audience, but it's based on something that we've been doing already and that we've committed already. So it's easy to leverage that. That's kind of how a long-winded answer in terms of how we make those decisions. But that balancing act between saying, why should we do this, or why shouldn't we do this? The balancing act between saying no to everything and saying no to just a few things. It's a constant struggle as an entrepreneur, as you're actually operating a business that needs to grow and has real customers and real things that need to be done every day.
I'm glad that the blog is working so well for you, because I love the blog. And so I'm glad that that's going to incentivize you, that there's enough of me out there reading it, that you're going to keep doing it, because it's great. And I'll definitely put links to it in the show, because everybody should go there and start reading it, because the stuff you give away for free on that, the lessons, it's amazing. It's like a full education in marketing and business and startups. It's great.
Awesome.
Okay. So I know in my business, I don't know if it's the same in your business, but I'm going to assume that it is. But you have a business online, Close.io, that probably gets offered a lot of, say, partnerships or different types of, say, traffic or customers, people that want to approach you with an email or something and like, I have a great thing that could work with you, which oftentimes works out that they just want to actually use your customers if they can. Is there a way that you deal with these people and weed out the good ones from the bad ones and not take a whole lot of time?
Yeah. The way that I do this is by not trying to decide who are the good ones and who are the bad ones, and treating all of them like bad ones. Because chances are that they are. And this is something I've written about before, which I call the partnership hack. Here's what I do. And I've encountered this. And you know what? The more successful you become, the more press you get, the more exposure you have, the more partnerships are being offered to you. And it's hard sometimes. Sometimes it's easy to tell that somebody might come from the wrong place and not be a good fit. But sometimes people come with amazing credentials and, some big corporation behind them and all these things that are shiny and make you distracted and go, oh my God, this is a great opportunity for a partnership. And then all of a sudden you've started investing more and more time into a partnership that more often than not will not result into anything tangible other than a waste of time to your business. So here's the way that I approach it. Every time somebody sends us an email and wants to do some kind of a partnership, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be the CEO of Coca-Cola for what I don't care who it is. If I get an email that says, hey, do you want to do a partnership? And they tell me what they can offer me. A lot of times they tell me, oh, we can bring you all these customers. I've run a consulting business with thousands of customers that need a CRM and sales software. And if you only work with us, we're going to bring you so many customers. What I do is I reply with kind of a template that I've written up a long time ago that's basically just saying, hey, John, I really appreciate that you thought of us and reaching out. That's really humbling. That's awesome. I checked out your stuff. Looks great. Here's the way that we typically go about partnerships to make sure that it's actually a really, really good fit and to make sure that the partnership is going to be fruitful for both sides. If you are convinced already that you can bring tons of customers to us, bring us one. Why don't you just tell one customer about us? Bring us just the smallest customer you can think of. And once they actually signed up for our product, went through the trial, decided that it's the right fit and bought, we're going to find a way to compensate you for that. We're going to pay you some kind of a commission. And we're going to that should be our signal that there's really something here that has great potential. And then we're going to jump on a call and talk to you. But, and that's the end of the email. And then I say, dude, does that sound fair enough? Without not a single time when I say this, when I write an email like that to somebody, it doesn't matter who it is, they always reply, Steli, you got it. That's a great idea. No problem. Wait for the customer. I'm going to bring you somebody immediately ASAP. And you know what happens next? 100% of the time, not even 99% of the time, nothing. It's the last time I hear of them, right? And that's awesome. That's fine by me. As long as I can, I now spend 5 seconds on this partnership versus jumping on a Skype call, which was what they wanted to do initially, invest 60 minutes of my time talking to them, then distracting my team by telling them what I just talked about, and like creating all this waste, all this time wasted, energy wasted to things that will more often than not result into nothing. The great thing about this hack is that if somebody's actually for real and they bring me a customer, I'm going to be like amazed by them. I'm going to actually use this as an excuse to invest time in the partnership and the relationship. But so far for us, nobody actually delivered on their promises.
So beautifully simple and just a perfect, just gentlemanly answer to that question that you're right. The bigger and bigger your business gets, the more and more of these things that you do get approached with. And some of them may turn out right, but as you're showing, you only have so much time, right, to put into this stuff. So, I love that. I love that. So this has been amazing, Steli. I think that I've learned a lot, and I'm sure everybody else has learned a lot from you and will continue to. Can you just one last time just tell everybody where they can go find out more about you and your company?
Yeah, so people should check out our blog. So that's blog.close.io. Closing as in closing a deal, so closing a deal, so CLOSE, and then .io as in input output. Close.io, if you go to close.io, you'll find our blog. You'll find tons of content from me and my contact information. You can email me directly if you have a question or want to chit-chat or offer a partnership. That's Steli, Steli, at close.io. I always love to chat with other entrepreneurs. And I will take time to help another entrepreneur any day, but I will defend my business and time from people that offer partnerships. This is a disclaimer. But yeah, close.io, go to the site, find our blog, and Steli at close.io if you want to get directly in touch with me.
Thanks so much, Steli. I really, really appreciated your time again.
Thanks, John. This was fun.
That was a great chat and a lot of fun. Are you ready? Let's find the hack.
A baby doesn't fall down like 5 or 6 times and then goes, all right, that's it. I'm done with walking. This is just not for me. I look stupid. Everybody laughing at me. This is it. I'm just going to be crawling, right? That's just my thing. I'm not like we don't like as human beings. We don't have anything that's natural that is afraid of looking stupid or try to avoid failure. But I think we get educated into it.
And that's the hack. Thank you for that, Steli. That is by far the best analogy I've heard to dissect how it is to be wrong and how to be comfortable with it. A baby doesn't fall down when it doesn't know how to walk and just be like, that's it. I'm never walking again. Ever since he said this in the conversation, it keeps coming up to me and I've referenced it so many times that that has to be the hack. Although he said a lot of cool stuff in this interview. So again, thank you so much for joining us on Hack the Entrepreneur. I'm glad you spent the time with us. If you haven't yet, please check out the website, hacktheentrepreneur.com. And until then, I am Johnny Nastor, and this is Hack the Entrepreneur.